Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, and today what we have here is the ASUS ZenWiFi AX6600 Model XT8, and this is actually a 2-pack version. And I would like to say thanks to our friends at ASUS Philippines for giving us a chance to test and review this powerful Zen router. Before we begin, let us try to check what are the things that are included in the box. We have two XT8 router, and under them there comes a 2 power adapter, 1 LAN cable, and 6 removable plugs intended for different regions. And for the specifications, this router have 1 2.5 gigabit WAN port, 3 1 gigabit LAN port, 1 USB 3.0 port, 6 internal antennas, 256 MB flash and 512 MB RAM, and a quad-core processor. For setting up the router, get one unit, plug the power adapter to the wall outlet and the other end to the Wi-Fi router. And plug the LAN cable coming from your source of internet like the modem provided by your internet service provider and to the WAN port of the Wi-Fi router. And wait for a couple of minutes to make it boot completely and connect to the default SSID of the router, which is actually ASUS_50. Then if you're already connected, open up your ASUS router application on your mobile device, tap the plus or positive icon at the upper right side of the application. Then choose Setup a new router, then choose ASUS ZenWiFi series. Wait for it to scan and look for the new router available, and then select ZenWiFi AX. Then wait for a couple of minutes for it to configure again. Then press Set up your node. Then press Get Started. Then for the ISP setting, just tap next, and if there are no special instructions, just hit next, okay? And then create your Wi-Fi SSID name or the Wi-Fi name that you like to create, and also create the password that you actually desire. Then click next, then create your admin username and password for accessing and managing the Wi-Fi router. Then click next, and it will set up the things that you have entered, and wait for a couple of minutes again. Then try to check if the Wi-Fi SSID that you have set is already available. Then connect to that Wi-Fi network, then go back to the ASUS app to check the status if it is already complete with the configuration. Then you should be able to access the internet already if you are already connected to the new Wi-Fi SSID. And now, for the hardest part, configuring the other AI mesh node. No, actually, I'm just kidding. And this is the easiest thing that I have configured for a long time. Just plug the power adapter on the wall outlet, then power on the other node. Wait for at least or at less than 3 minutes, and without doing anything, you have your AI mesh node configured and working. And now, let us try to check the web interface and see what are the features available on this Wi-Fi router. Let's enter the credentials that we have set earlier, and for the username, it will be admin. And the password, the one that we have set earlier. And after that one, you will be redirected to the main landing page of the web management console. Okay, and we are now on the network map. For the network map, this will show you the most basic information regarding your Wi-Fi router or the ZenWiFi AX. And right now we have 2 clients that are currently connected, and we have additional AI mesh node that is already configured with our network. And on the right side, you'll be able to see wireless information like the Smart Connect is enabled, and for the authentication method, there is actually a lot of to choose from, which is WPA, Open System, WPA2, or WPA3 as well. And aside from that one, it will also inform you that the 5 GHz-2, this is the 3rd band of this Wi-Fi router. It is being dedicated as a backhaul for AI mesh node, meaning it will be utilized by the AI mesh system, okay? And aside from that one, we have here the status. The status actually gives you information regarding the utilization of the CPU and the memory of the Wi-Fi router. And going to the AI mesh tab. Okay, under the AI mesh tab, this will show you the mesh system that you have. Right now, this ZenWiFi AX is the main Wi-Fi AI mesh router. And aside from that one, the one below it will be the ZenWiFi AX as well, and this will be the AI mesh node that is currently connected to our main AI mesh router. Okay, and let's try to check the ZenWiFi AX and give you some information regarding this one for the ZenWiFi AX XT8. Okay, and right now for the network, you'll be able to see here the uplink type is wireless 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, as what we have mentioned earlier. It uses the 5 GHz-2 as an uplink or a backhaul for the connectivity of this AI mesh node. And as you can see here, the transmit rate, guys, it is 4.5 gigabit. Okay, for both for receive and transmit, it uses 4.5 gigabit, and actually that is a lot of bandwidth for that transfer or transmit or receive rate compared to the one that is using the LAN port, which is for the ordinary LAN port, it is gigabit port, and for the one port, it only uses 2.5 gigabit port. This is actually useful if you have devices that are capable of more than gigabit networking. Okay, and aside from that one, let us go with the guest network. Okay, for the guest network, this is where you can actually create a guest Wi-Fi or guest SSID, where your guests can connect to your Wi-Fi network and just segregate them on your main network. You can create a 2.4 or 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency for your guests. And now to the AI protection. Okay, under the AI protection, this is actually disabled a while ago. We enabled this one so you can see the informations that we can do. There is a router security assessment, and I believe these two danger that we have is the credential or the password that we have set for our Wi-Fi network and the admin credentials as well. It is not that secured configuration. Okay, and you can also see here malicious site blocking, two-way IPS, infected device prevention and blocking. Everything is turned on, and if there is malicious sites that are being blocked, you'll be able to see it in here. And also, you'll be able to see other information for the infected device prevention and blocking on this tab as well. Okay, and right now, there is no event detected. And now, going to the parental controls. Okay, under the parental control, this is where you can actually restrict or limit the usage of your connected devices. Like for example, we have here a client name MAC address. So let's drag this down and you'll be able to see that there are two devices that are already connected to our Wi-Fi router, and you don't have to get their MAC address, just identify which is which. And we have here a Huawei P30 Pro. Let's try this one for example, and aside from that one, you can try to tick the checkbox on the content category if you want to disable adult sites, instant messaging, streaming, and entertainment. You can actually click the plus button to make it more granular. Like for example, streaming and entertainment, what are the things that you want to block, which is games, and aside from those things. And also you have here the time scheduling. Okay, for the time scheduling, this is where you can actually limit the devices on when they will be able to access the internet, on when they will be able to block, when you will be able to block their internet connection. And aside from this one, we have here the adaptive QoS. Okay, under the adaptive QoS, you'll be able to see here QoS. Okay, and currently it is disabled. We have to enable this one if you want to configure this adaptive QoS. Okay, currently it is on adaptive QoS, meaning that it will give you a default configuration. Like for example, if your priority is gaming, you can just need to click this one. And if your priority is work from home, meaning that, for example, if your priority is work from home, all the traffic that are using working, like for example, Skype, messaging, email will be prioritized during the traffic if there is a huge traffic within your network. And you can also customize this one. You can set which one will have the highest priority. Like for example, gaming for me is the highest priority, and next will be learn from home for my kids. And yeah, you can save this one. And aside from this one, next is internet speed. Okay, for the internet speed, these have a built-in internet speed test, meaning that the device is actually running the speed test. Like for example, if you have a speed test on your mobile phone is the one actually accessing the internet and doing a speed test. But for this one, the router itself is doing a speed test to give you the information on how much bandwidth that you have for your internet connection. Okay, you can hit this go and Converge, yes, actually we have 300 Mbps of internet speed. So we're getting around 290 plus because it's in the middle of the day. Someone might be using the internet connection as well. And so we have 296, and for the upload, around 200 plus as well. And aside from this one, for the QoS, I forgot to mention that we also have other information regarding this one. You can use the traditional QoS if you're not familiar with the adaptive QoS, or also bandwidth limiter on which device will have an amount of bandwidth for his or her internet connection. Okay, now for the traffic analyzer. Okay, for the traffic analyzer, this just shows you or give you information regarding how much traffic on which device is actually using. Like for example, this one for the Huawei P30 Pro, Facebook usage is around 1 gig. For the computer, around the general usage is around 11 MB, and also you can use the apps on which apps are actually eating a lot of internet bandwidth. Like for here, we have here Facebook, and for the Netflix, around 135. No one actually watches today. And aside from that one, traffic monitor, let's try to check this one. This is the actual internet usage that you are using for your internet connection. And for the USB application, this is where you can actually configure some of the important things like AID, server center, network printer server, 3G, 4G, switch to USB mode, okay? Meaning, if you have a USB dongle or a mobile phone that you want it to connect to this Wi-Fi router, it is actually possible, and there's also a time machine and download master. And for the AI cloud, we won't be using this one. If you have configured your AI cloud, you can check it in here. And going to the wireless tab. Okay, for the wireless tab, this is the information regarding your Wi-Fi network. And for now, we have the Smart Connect enabled, and aside from this one, you can actually configure a lot of things with your Wi-Fi connectivity. And 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency, the channel, you can change the channel in here. And what else? Okay, let us try to check wireless MAC filter. Okay, for the wireless MAC filter, you can actually configure this one if you want to allow only these devices to connect to your wireless LAN. And aside from that one, we have here the LAN. Okay, under the LAN, these are the information that you can do in here, the IP address, and you can also configure the subnet mask. And for the DHCP server, this is the configuration where you can set or configure which IP address will be available in the pool and the ending address of the pool. So meaning these devices will receive this IP address range. And you can also manually assign an IP for a device that you want. Like for example, if you have a printer and you don't want to change its IP every time you restart the printer or turn it on or turn it off, it will retain the same IP every time it connects to the Wi-Fi network. Okay, under the one tab, this is regarding your internet connectivity. And for the internet connection, automatic IP enabled 1. For the dual one, okay, for example, we have conversion PLDT. If converge dies or disconnected, we will be able to connect to the internet because we still have the PLDT, and it will work smoothly as soon as possible. And Alexa, if you have Alexa, you can configure Alexa in here. And the VPN tab, you can actually configure if you have a VPN connectivity or connection, and VPN client and instant guard. And we have here the firewall. If you want to configure your firewall, you can configure it here as well, so you can have a more secure network. And for the administration, these are just the basic information. Again, right now we have the wireless router mode. We are connected to the main AI mesh router, and it's on default, and you can configure this one as an AP, repeater, media bridge, or AI mesh node. And this is where you can actually upgrade the firmware if there's a new firmware available for your Wi-Fi router. And system lags and network tool as well. Now we go with the performance. For the speed test, for our subscription, we are subscribed to Converge plan, 2,500 pesos, around 300 Mbps bandwidth. And we will be just testing for one router for now to know its actual coverage, if it can cover the entire house already. For the baseline testing, sitting just beside the router, we are getting around 294 Mbps for download and around 301 Mbps for upload. Then we are moving to the roof deck. I would just like to let you know that we have a concrete wall and a concrete flooring for each floor. And for the roof deck, we are still getting or able to access the internet and having a good internet speed at around 52.9 Mbps download. And of course, we will test on the ground floor as well. And I would like to remind you that the router is still on the second floor. Okay, and on the ground floor, we are still having a good Wi-Fi speed. It is actually enough to watch a 4K content as well. Okay, and now let us try adding another mesh node and see if there is an increase in speed on the ground floor. Okay guys, and right now we are going to do a speed test here in the first floor, and currently we are still connected to the AI mesh router upstairs, second floor. Okay, and I'm doing a speed test, and let us try to check. We are connected to the ASUS XT8, and we are only getting around... Okay, and connected to the router upstairs, we are only getting around 61.7 Mbps of download speed and 18.2 Mbps of upload speed. Right now, we're going to configure or set the AI mesh node. So meaning, this one, it's not yet powered on, we'll be connecting to our main AI mesh router, and let us try to check if we will have a good or better internet connection. So turn it on. I'll just pause the video for now because it will take a while to boot. Okay guys, and it took less than 2 minutes to actually configure and connect this Wi-Fi AI mesh node to the main AI mesh router. And right now we're going to do a speed test on this AI mesh node. But let us try to check first if we are connected already on this AI mesh node. Okay, and in the application, we have here the ASUS router. As you can see here, we have two ZenWiFi AX. One is, I believe, the one on the top, which is the main AI mesh router, and the second one is the 242 is the AI mesh node, this one. And we are currently connected on this one, and we are connected to the 5 GHz Wi-Fi frequency of this router. And of course, we're going to do the speed test. This is the result a while ago, and do a speed test. Guys, ping is 5 milliseconds and jitter is 1 millisecond. And we are getting around 290 Mbps of internet connection. Guys, I would just like to remind you that this Wi-Fi router doesn't have any LAN cable connected directly from this LAN port to the LAN port of the AI mesh router. This is connected via the third band of this Wi-Fi capability or the tri-band capability of this AX6600. So, there you have it guys. We have 292 Mbps of download speed and 308 Mbps of upload speed. It is a great experience. We don't have to put a LAN cable coming from the second floor going to the ground floor just to have a great internet connection. And some of you might doubt that those speed test results are not enough. How about for playing online games? And for our test, we will be using Mobile Legends as our gaming test. And actually, for this gaming test, it is actually great. I've been using this one for more than 5 days now, and the gaming experience for this Wi-Fi router is the best. And today, we won't be connecting to the main AI mesh router, but instead, we will be connecting to the AI mesh node, which is actually downstairs. And I would like to show you that there is no LAN cable connected to this AI mesh node, so our backhaul or uplink is via wireless. And as you can see on the game itself, it is single-digit latency all the time, and I didn't really encounter any issues during this game, and it works great. And now for our verdict and rating. Guys, for my Wi-Fi review, it always takes me a week or more to stress test this router and power it on 24/7 so I can give you feedback if I encounter any issue along the way. And for me, I will give this set a 5-star rating. And guys, you have seen on how it performs. One router can actually give me an internet access throughout the entire house. But for me, I don't like to just have an internet access on every corner. I want to have the best internet speed in every corner of the house. So adding an additional node made it possible. And guys, remember the backhaul of this Wi-Fi mesh system is not wired. It is a wireless backhaul. So I don't have to worry about laying a LAN cable from a second floor to the ground floor or even on the roof deck just to have the best internet speed. So the reason why I emphasize on this is because if you only have a dual band mesh system and running on a wireless backhaul, you won't be getting the same experience that you'll be getting on this ASUS Tri-Band XT8 Wi-Fi router. And even the gaming, it was great. Single-digit latency connected on the AI mesh node. It works great. And there is a lot more features like guest network, parental control, security. And guys, actually there are a lot to mention, but it is a lot of features that we haven't discussed yet. And okay, now for the pricing of this Wi-Fi router. Actually, it is priced around 26,000 to 27,000 in Lazada, ASUS official stores. And yes, the price tag is a bit high, but consider this. You are not getting a single router, but instead you are getting actually a 2 Wi-Fi AX6600 tri-band router. And if you are really serious with your Wi-Fi network, this is the best mesh system that I have tested so far. No question about it. It works great. Okay? And guys, I think that is all. If you have questions and suggestions, comment down below or message me at JK Chavez on Facebook. And if you're not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button so we can create more videos and review to show you or give you information about. And thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe and bye. Good job, ASUS.